you seen Whitlock's take that the Ravens are one of the best teams ever in the most mediocre league we've ever seen? And then he said, no, what happened? I said, well, let's disagree then. And so we put you on a thumbnail, of course.
Well, and you guys were proven right. And to some degree, I was proven wrong this weekend, although I don't fully agree with that. I feel like, and JB, we'll start here. I feel like this is one of the greatest choke jobs in the history of the NFL. I do think Baltimore was clearly the better team, the best team in the NFL. And I think Lamar Jackson, the entire team, panicked. I think the offensive coaches, the all-black quarterback room decided, hey, we're going to outpass Patrick Mahomes. We're going to come out of our identity, and we're going to go throw for throw with Patrick Mahomes. Dumb strategy, trying to prove the wrong thing, and it cost Baltimore, I believe, maybe their best chance at advancing to a Super Bowl. This may be a stench Lamar never recovers from.
Yeah, I said if he doesn't win this year, I don't know if he'll ever sniff this far again. He's 2-4 in the playoffs, and his passing stats have gotten worse each and every year in the playoffs. So, look, I just want to ask a question. Like, when are we going to ask, when is it Lamar's fault? Like, I like the kid. I know buddies that have coached him and recruited him. Great kid and all. And I have no ill will towards the kid. But I guess you and I and other people tell the truth. We are haters. It's not the hate. It's not hate if it's true. I just don't understand how I can come out and continue to say it's his fault. We have yet to see a creature, a freak of nature, a freak athlete like Lamar win a Super Bowl. Ever. Not one time. Name me one. I'll wait. We haven't seen this guy win a Super Bowl. It's not hate. I'm just telling you what I've seen in my 47 going on 48 years of watching Super Bowls. I've never seen a guy like Lamar win it. A freak of nature athlete who plays with his feet first, arms second. I haven't seen one win. And don't tell me Steve Young, because he didn't win a Super Bowl until he threw 5 touchdowns from the pocket. Don't tell me about all these guys. Russell Wilson won by ad-libbing with his feet, making throws by creating time with his feet, as has Patrick Mahomes. Don't try to equate them as the same thing. And I think people catch color and then they equate color to the same thing. No, Lamar is not the same guy as Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson. Please make no mistake about it. Now, having said that, Jason, when is it his fault? Last year, it was Greg Roman's fault. By the way, Greg Roman's coached 2 different teams to 2 different Super Bowls running 2 different systems, but it was his fault. Now it's Monken's fault. Today, all over Twitter, we want to see Monken fired. And then last night, Jason, the craziest one of all, likely running down the middle with his hand up. The media blamed Likely for putting his hand up, forcing Lamar to throw into triple coverage. Have you ever heard of a more asinine take by a media member in your entire life? So they're basically saying that Likely had a string on his hand attached to Lamar's throwing arm, and it made him throw the ball into triple coverage. I just haven't seen Lamar. I haven't seen a guy get more protected than Lamar Jackson in the media. I've never seen a guy. Other than Mahomes, I've never seen a guy like Lamar is more protected. And I just want to call it what it is. Like, when you force him to throw the football from the pocket and you allow guys with your front four to get pressure, it is his weakness. He can't make those throws, and it becomes let me run around, make a play. And listen, he's the greatest at it maybe ever. Who knows? But that's not going to win you a Super Bowl because guys are running free, Jason, when you're running around in the backfield, wide open for a touchdown, but you can't see it and you won't see it. And that is why I continue to say it's tough, man. It is really tough for him. I don't know if he'll ever get back here, Jason. And this was his shot, like you said. This is the most mediocre quarterback room we've ever had in the NFL. And it's proving my point by naming this guy, Lamar, the MVP. 24 touchdowns. Is the MVP of the greatest league ever? Really?
JB, I made an analogy today comparing Lamar Jackson to Randall Cunningham. And I think I could go an even step further and say, if Randall Cunningham played in this era where you can't really hit the quarterback, you have to ask permission, you get to slide and avoid contact, and any real hit is penalized, Randall Cunningham would probably be better than Lamar Jackson in this if he had been allowed to play in this era. Randall Cunningham, back when you used to play real football, he finished second in the MVP race 3 different times.
It's not even close. Randall Cunningham would throw for 6,000 yards a year. He would throw for 6,000 yards. Like, Randall could sling it now. He wasn't just a sitting duck back there. He was a freak because we saw him hurdle people, and he was long and athletic compared to much longer than Lamar. But, like, my buddy played with him at UNLV with Keenan McCardell. Suge Knight was on that team. The Maloof brothers, the owners of the Kings at one point. Listen, Randall could sling the ball, though, and he was a passer at the time, on those Vikings teams when he had Randy and Carter. He was he was slinging the football, like, all over the park. I thought he was worthy of an MVP. Wouldn't even be close, Jason. And the only I don't disagree, but the only part I would add to it, not only can't you hit the quarterback, in that era you could reroute and you can belt the crosser and you can physical up a receiver at the line of scrimmage or after 5 yards. You can't anymore. The catered rules to the defense, to the offense, and yet we have a worse offense than we've ever seen. Numbers-wise, stat-wise, points-wise, it's the worst we've seen, and we're catered to. We're catered to on offense. And as a quarterback, former quarterback coach, and all those things, it's sickening to me that we are catered to, and yet we can't figure out how to throw a hitch ball on time, how to see rolled coverage, how to throw hot, how to understand who the Mike ID is in protection. We have just completely ruined the game, the fabric of the game, the fabric, as my buddy Tank Johnson says, who loves your show and wants to come on. He says the fabric has been destroyed. I truly believe that's the case. And having said that, like, think about it. No Aaron Rodgers, no Burrow, no Tom Brady's, and yet Lamar is getting an MVP out of straight default. 24 touchdowns is an MVP season? Like, I just want to be honest. Let's just be real. Let's just say we're giving it to the guy who had the best regular season record and the best defense. Like, that's what we're actually doing here. He's by no – Josh Allen had 50 touchdowns combined this year, and we haven't mentioned his name. And, yes, he's a turnover machine in the red zone, but he had 50 touchdowns and much better stats. So did Dak Prescott. So did Purdy. So did so many others. I think we just give the award to who's the most popular person, not about who's the best. And Lamar clearly wasn't the best, but we want to give it to him because it's a feel-good story.
I would imagine, JB, T. Martin and maybe some other folks on the Baltimore coaching staff. Why did they – I'm giving you my theory. Why did they abandon the running game? That's their identity, and they tried to go throw for throw with the Chiefs and Andy Reid. Why? What's your theory on why they did that?
I think that they were going off of what the box gave them. So if the box was light, they would run it. If the box was heavy, they were going to throw it. And what Kansas City and Spagnuolo does better than most, Eric Weddle comes on my show every Monday morning, and he was on today, and he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback champion, and he played with Lamar as a rookie. And he made some points, and he was like, Spagnuolo may be the best big game defensive coordinator of all time. He was also the DC for the Giants when they beat the 18-0 Patriot team. So he is one of the best big-time D coordinators of all time. Having said that, he will give you false looks that Lamar hasn't seen all year because he changes things in the playoffs that you don't see, and he preps it during the season, and then he uses it at the right time. In the playoff run, 2 games on the road, you've seen their defense stymie offenses. And he proved it. So what I mean is he'll put 8 in the box, Jason. He'll give Lamar this read. He said, oh, shoot, I can't check out of this into a run. I have to throw it. So then when he drops back and he's dictated to throw the ball, we've dictated what we want from you. Now they drop out, and Lamar's sitting there holding his hand and the ball in his hand. And now guess what? Now he's an ad-libber. He's got to run around. And they did that many, many times, and it forced them to throw the ball. When Eric said we should have just ran the ball regardless. Run the ball regardless because it keeps them from just running up the field in the pass game when you do decide to pass. So I think he schemed them. We've seen Wink Martindale, who used to coach for the Ravens, understand him. You saw him scheme up Lamar when he was with the Giants just in a regular season game last year. And you see when guys understand what Lamar's strengths and weaknesses are, they can exploit him in the playoffs. That's why he's 2-4, and that's why I think he struggles in the playoffs when you have to be able to be a passer, Jason, not a thrower. He can throw wide open guys when he's out in the open and an ad-libber, but he's not a passer. And you have to be a good enough passer in this league to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion.
I wasn't super duper impressed with the Chiefs yesterday. Obviously, their defense did a nice job, but they got shut out offensively in the second half. I love their first half offensive game plan, but the Chiefs could have easily – the Chiefs did everything, I thought, to keep Baltimore in the game. Were you impressed with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs yesterday?
No, I'm impressed with Andy Reid and Spagnuolo. Listen, they dominated that game from top to bottom, in my opinion. I thought they could have or should have if they had better weapons and if Mahomes – people, already know about my thing in Mahomes. Listen, today was a bad day for me. Smitty was mourning because Lamar Jackson, he wears Lamar Jackson goggles. I said Lamar will never win. And then I'm mourning because I'm always against Mahomes, and Mahomes won. So we had a no-win show today. We couldn't win today. But having said that, listen, Mahomes was 30 of 39, Jason, for 240 yards, 1 touchdown. 30 completions in the era that you mentioned previously where you could hit the quarterback, reroute guys and stuff. That's a 400-plus yard night. And we continue to see this. His average pass attempt was 4.5 yards. 4.5 yards attempt. So he threw the ball to Pacheco, I believe, or the back, combined the backs, 12 times in the back, out of the backfield. He threw a great comeback ball to Kelsey for a touchdown, and he threw the third down ball to Van Scantling to seal the deal. Great ball, great decision, great choice, horrible coverage. I have no idea what the Ravens were doing. Either does Eric Weddle. But he made the plays when he had to. And I ate crow on my show saying, listen, he went to 2 road team games for the first time, which we haven't seen, won the games, and he is a winner when it comes down to the playoffs. He's just proving people wrong over and over. That doesn't mean I'm changing my take. That doesn't mean I think he's the most impressive guy I've ever seen. I've seen the guy plenty of times before in Elway, Marino, Aikman, and so on. I don't want to hear that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. What I will say is Andy Reid is very, very, very undervalued. And I think he's almost disrespected by the mainstream media when they don't bring his name up as how great this guy is. Now, let me just break this down before you go in, Jason. He's dealing with the Travis Kelce shot thing, Taylor Swift. He's dealing with Tony. Did you see Tony go on IG Live right before kickoff and basically just tell him to suck my bleep and blah, 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 because I'm not hurt? He deals with more internal drama, plus having his own issues with his own kids. I mean, the drama is unbelievable, to say the least. And what he's done there with no receivers, drop balls early on, struggles with Kelsey, all these things. To get in another Super Bowl, like, it's almost like, I would ask you this, Jason. Is Andy Reid closer to the GOAT than Patrick Mahomes is? That is the real question. I think he's closer to being the GOAT, which we'll call Bill Belichick, than Patrick Mahomes is closer to Tom Brady, Montana, Elway, etc. That's how I put it. Because without Andy Reid, I believe that Patrick Mahomes is just another guy, which we call in the football world a jag, just another guy.
I can't go just another guy as it relates to Patrick Mahomes. Can't do it.
But if you watched the game last night, Jason, right? You watched the game. Yeah. What throw just blew you away? What balls does he throw in a game that you're like, oh my God?
No. Well. I mean, look, JB, you got to have a big pair to make that final throw he made to Scantling, and I know it wasn't perfect, but it's in the rain. It's to close out the game. They threw it way downfield, and he gave Scantling a chance to close out the game. Big time throw. What they executed in the first half, taking what the Ravens give them. You got to remember, the Ravens led the league in sacks. Why not throw short and avoid that pass rush? Keep Patrick clean, keep him dry, not beat up. That's been part of the Ravens' formula to put you in 2nd and 15 with a first down sack, or 3rd and 12 with a sack on first or second down. They avoided all that. So I was impressed.
But that's Andy Reid's doing, right?
No, I agree, yes. But Patrick Mahomes executed it, and I'm going to give him credit for that. He is a great player. Is he? I agree with your take. If I was putting down the 10 greatest coaches in NFL history, at this moment, I would rank Andy Reid higher up in that 10 than I would if I was putting the 10 greatest quarterbacks right now. Can Patrick Mahomes elevate himself? But I would have Andy Reid higher up the ladder than I would Patrick Mahomes. And I think Patrick Mahomes is headed towards top 5 status. I don't have him there right now. I think he has a chance. Now, I'm unique. I think John Elway is the greatest quarterback to ever play the game because he would be dominant in every era of the NFL. You can go back to the 1940s and John Elway would be dominant, and you can go all the way up to now and he would be dominant. He had all the tools. I don't think you can say that about every other quarterback. You put Brady in the 1970s, I don't know. In this era, I got no problem with people that rank him number 1. But Patrick Mahomes still has some work to do. And so when I think about if I had to win one NFL game, I would take Steve Young every time. I feel like he's the most talented, most accurate quarterback to ever play the game. And so, again, I think Elway, every era, Steve Young, the best guy, played it at the highest level started throwing for completing 65, 70% of his passes before anybody was doing that. And then, obviously I love Brady, Montana, and some of these other guys. Patrick Mahomes isn't, to me, in their class as of yet. Another Super Bowl win, another MVP or two. Then Dan Marino. Dan Marino's the greatest guy to ever stand in the pocket and just deliver the football. I don't have Patrick Mahomes on Dan Marino's level right now. And I know Marino never won a Super Bowl. So I agree with you. I do think Patrick Mahomes is going to crack the top 5.
The disrespect that Troy Aikman gets by you on this show is just what are we?
That's Warren Sapp. That's Warren Sapp. Don't confuse me with Warren Sapp. I like Troy Aikman.
Troy is one of I don't know. If Jimmy stays on that team, he probably wins 7, and we're talking about a whole nother GOAT. But let me break this down. Common themes between Brady and Mahomes. The AFC East at the time of Brady's run was the worst conference we have seen in NFL history over a 20-year span. Just equate that to what we've seen in this 5-year span from Mahomes. The AFC West has been the worst conference in football over his 5 years. Those are two common themes that we're seeing by two AFC quarterbacks that have gone to a lot of Super Bowls and that we are calling the GOATs of the new generation and the old. Denver's been horrific. The Raiders have been horrific. The Chargers are the Chargers. And we have yet to see anyone really compete with Mahomes in the West, hensing this is his first run on the road in his playoff run ever. He's finally gone on the road. And guess what? Kudos to him. He has proved me wrong that he can go on the road and win. Now, I still think Andy Reid's did a hell of a job yesterday, not only in little things that a coach's eyes see like myself, but just what he does on a day-to-day basis in the day-to-day operations of running that drama-filled organization right now with all the outside noise that we see with the Taylor Swifts and the Kelseys and all this stuff. So kudos to Andy Reid. Spagnuolo is just one of the best defense coordinators ever, and he won't get the credit because wins and losses do not fall under a defensive coordinator's description, so he'll never get that credit. It'll always go to Andy Reid, but Andy Reid hired him. And I think this is one of his best, most masterful jobs ever, coaching this particular team with this roster, with no outside threats, really. And Kelsey going through what he went through. And it looks like Kelsey may be back in the right time. And it looks like he is he means business now. I mean, yesterday,
I got to let you go, JB, but let me add this point as it relates to just in all fairness to Tom Brady. The man, at the end of his career, went to Tampa Bay and won a Super Bowl in an instant. He left the AFC East, went and won a Super Bowl in the NFC South, from out of the NFC South, in an instant. And so you got to give him credit for that. I got to let you go.
Right.
Thank you so much. Before you go, plug your show. Tell everybody where they can come see you and Darnell talk smack on me behind my back.
Coach JB Show with Big Smitty, who thanks Jason every day for getting him in this profession. Just so we know, shout out to Jason for getting young Smitty in the profession. And 6 a.m. Pacific every single day. Tomorrow is Doc Talk Tuesday. We got Dr. Jesse Morse on, Big Steve Kim. He'll be on tomorrow. And Michael Lombardi, NFL great voice.
Well, hold on. You had Matt McChesney on today talking about something that I think is interesting that we'll get to tomorrow. Could you? What did McChesney say? Give me 60 seconds of what McChesney said, previewing, because I'm hoping to have him on tomorrow.
Basically, he said, that he was thrown under the bus by quite a few different people, Colorado's own people and compliance and some other folks, and he's been bombarded with hate and. He's been called by USA Today, Sports Illustrated, and everybody else saying your name is on a reporting list that Deion had to self-report some violations to the NCAA. And Matt was at his house on his couch with his 2028 recruit son, who's a big-time player. And they were like, I wish we were at the Stanford game, but we were at home. And my name is more important to me than anything else. And that's what he should do. I think he should justifiably protect his name, and that's what I told him to do today. So it's a very interesting story.
Thank you, JB.
Peace.